It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
What's happening, everybody? Good morning, and happy Friday to you. It is Friday, February 21st, 2020. And for all of you guys that tune in here every single morning with me, man, I appreciate it. And today is a very special day. 100 episodes. It's hard to believe, man, that we've been through 100 episodes of this show. Looking back, man, I've got so many things that I have, that I've gained from doing this show, and so many people that I've met and new friends that I have, and all kinds of stuff that's positive things that have come from doing this show. And so I appreciate all you guys jumping on here with me this morning. If you guys could share this out for me so that this 100th episode would reach as many people as possible, man, I would appreciate that. So we're going to talk today about, I figured it's the 100th episode, and I was talking to Judd this morning over WhatsApp, and I was like, man, I really don't know what to talk about. It's kind of a big deal, 100 episodes. And he said, man, what if you talked about what could you do with 100 years of life? What could you actually accomplish in 100 years? So I thought, man, that's a great idea. It's a great idea to talk about what could you do in 100 years of life? What could you actually accomplish if you had 100 years of life? And so that's what we're going to talk about. But first, I want to say good morning to some people. What's happening, Bob, Andrew, Joe, Trisha? What's going on, guys? Before I jump into what we could do with 100 years of life, I wrote down just a list of things that I have gained from doing this show 100 times. And so the first thing I would tell you guys is if you've ever thought about doing something like this, I think it's really important for you to explore that in your life, to do something that's in your heart that you think about, you want to do, just jump out there and do it, because nothing is stopping you. Nothing is in your way from doing something like this. If you need help doing it, let me know that, and I'm happy to help you. And I'm happy to help you just kind of push off in the right direction, help you get the technology set up to be able to do it, because what you will gain is exactly what I have gained, and that is new clients, new friends, incredible stories from people. I've gained more focus in my own life. I've gained more motivation in my own life. I've gained a better online presence. I've gained, a better perspective in my own life. And that list goes on and on and on and on. But those are just a couple of the things that I have gained over these 100 episodes. And, it's something that I truly look forward to every single day, is just, kind of getting here, thinking about what I'm going to talk about, thinking about how I can impact other people. And that has, made an enormous impact on my life, and hopefully for those of you who tune in either all the time or just one time, hopefully this show has impacted you in some way or another. So what I want you guys to do, if you could, for me, so that I can kind of take a walk down memory lane this morning, is just drop something in the comments. Drop your favorite episode or something that you've gained from this show in the comments. Anything that you've gained over the last 100 episodes, whether you watched one or all 100, just drop that in the comments for me so I can go back this morning and just kind of look at some of your favorite things over the last 100 episodes here. So, but let's talk about 100 years of life and what you can actually accomplish if you set yourself to it. I looked up this morning as I was thinking about how to kind of frame this up, and I looked at how many days I have actually lived, and then how many are left in between, now and 100 years, when I turn 100 years old. And so I have lived 14,864 days to this point in my life. It's an interesting thing to look at in your life and actually look at how many days you have lived in your life, and then look back and say, what have I accomplished? And, how do I judge that? How do I grade myself? Where have I fallen short? Where have I succeeded? What have I accomplished? And so when I look back at, the 14,864 days, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I know that I could have come a lot further because there were a lot of years of my life that, I probably didn't use my time the best, but I think we all have those. And what I can say is that I've used that time, I've used the lessons from those mistakes, from those days that I didn't spend my time the wisest. I've used that to leverage into just an incredible new level of focus and commitment for myself. And so I've lived 14,864 days, which means that I have 21,636 days left until I turn 100 years old. And I would ask you guys to do the same calculation. And to give you an idea, it's really easy to do. You just type into Google, how many days since, and type in your birthday. And it'll spit you back exactly how many days that is. And then you can subtract that from, take 100 times 365 and subtract those number of days. And so I would ask you this question, because this is what Judd and I were talking about this morning. From today, so if I take those 21,636 days and I just impact one person every single day, every single day I impact one person. So that total of 21,636 days, I impact one person. And those people pay it forward and they impact one person apiece. What does that look like by the end of my life? What is the ripple effect of what I have done? And what is the ripple effect of what you would have done if you impact just one person a day? What impact would that have on our world? And that is 100% why I do this show. Ken Walls, good morning, man. Ken has been an inspiration to me. One of the reasons that I did this show, I was always kind of watching what Ken was doing. I was watching what a couple other people were doing. And I thought to myself, like, man, there's a lot inside of my heart, inside of my mind that I want to share with people. And, it took me a long time to get the courage to do this, but it's having friends like Ken Walls, like Glenn Lundy, like people that do this, that pour into the world, that allow you to gain the courage to do something like this. And so I would ask you that question. 21,636 days I got left. Some of you may have more, some of you may have less, but I can tell you this, you all have quite a few days before you reach 100 years old. And when you think about that, you think about what impact could you actually have if you commit to that, if you commit to doing something like this, if you commit to, just getting out there in the world and making somebody's day. I got a message from my guy Eli on my team last night, and just said, man, I'm trying to send a message to one person every single day about something that I'm grateful for. And he just told me that he was grateful for me and for our relationship and for the journey that we've had together over the last 3 years of him working with me. And so that had an incredible positive impact on me. I got to listen to it last night right before I went to bed. I sat in my text messages for a few hours before I got the chance to listen to it. But that had an impact on me, and that motivated me to impact more people. And so I would ask you to think about that today. When you think about 100 episodes of this show, and I calculated it out, and on average there's about 521 views of this show. So 521 times 100, 52,100 people have interacted with this show. And so I think to myself, what is the impact of that? How many people have taken something away, just one thing away from this show that might make their life better? Might make their marriage better, might make their relationship with their children better, might make their business better. And when you have a business of multiple people and you can impact those people, what is the impact of that? And so I just ask you to think about that today. And the second thing that I would ask you to think about the impact that would have on the world. But I think even more importantly than that is what is the impact that that would have on you? For you to impact those people. And I want to define that for you and what that has done for me. You know, it is hard to put into words the impact that doing this show and hearing the stories have had on me, because the stories that I get back, the connections that I've had, the new friends, the new clients, you know, the stories that I've heard about how little things on this show have impacted their life or impacted their business or impacted the way that they start their day, and how, you know, things that they've heard on this show have made them share it with another person, and how that person has become a regular watcher. You know, one of the things that has impacted me recently is just randomly, last week or the week before, there was a review put on my public page, on the page that I broadcast this show from. And it said, you know, I listen to your podcast every single morning on my way to work. Thank you for the inspiration from Australia. And I didn't know this person. You know, I've since friend requested that person, but I didn't know who this person was. I have never interacted with this person. But that idea that somehow this show, somehow the message that I share has impacted somebody all the way across the world in Australia was just incredible to me. And it's part of the mission that I'm on. You know, I never really had a goal of impacting somebody in Australia, but it's pretty cool to be able to do that. And so that broadened my horizons. That had an impact on me, because I've realized that it's not just people here. It's not just the friends that I have in my network, the people that I'm connected with on Facebook. It goes far beyond that. And you know, I think that in this world, sometimes we look around and we see a lot of darkness, and we see a lot of people who are struggling. And sometimes we tend to close ourselves off to those people because we don't want that darkness to come into our world. And what I would tell you is, don't be so afraid to let that darkness into your world, as long as your light is shining bright enough to overcome that, to be able to handle that kind of thing. Good morning, Paige. I assume that's my daughter typing that. So good morning, and thank you for watching, babe. But, you know, as long as that darkness will not overcome you, and the idea of that is to watch shows like this, to pour into yourself through other podcasts, to follow people who are inspirational, so that you can build up your muscle, your ability to stay positive against even the strongest darkness, because those people need your help. Those people need our help. And that's the only way that we're able to really make an impact on the world around us, is to allow those people in and to be able to help them and be able to pour into them, and hopefully just lend a hand or give a hug to a person that needs it. And that's really, you know, that's what this show is all about. That's what my mission in this world really is to somehow find a way to impact those people, to stay positive and be that shining light for those people that need it, to reach down and lend a hand to those in need. And I would appreciate it if you guys could help me do that by being a good example yourselves, by sharing this show out, by tagging people. The last handful of days here, there's been tons of people who have tagged people to introduce them to this show. And I appreciate that. You know, we've gone from, you know, nothing to having 30-something people, 20-something people regularly watching this show every single day. And I believe that people need to hear messages like this. Maybe it's not mine that they need to hear, but it can't hurt for them to hear a message of positivity, a message of influence in their lives that is positive, and to join a group of people every single morning like you guys that continue to watch and support this show, to join a group of people who will really, really care for them and help them and connect. And it's such a cool thing to watch people who are in my life connect with other people who are in my life all across the country, all across the world, and really become friends. Ken Walls has become friends with a ton of people in my world, and it's just really cool to watch people start to interact and start to pour into each other and learn from each other. Marvin Joels, I guarantee you, man, I tell you right now, connect with Ken Walls because you will enjoy his content. He's a social media master. You'll learn a ton from him. So much of what I've learned has come from Ken Walls. And so being able to introduce people to each other and watch them interact is such a cool thing to be able to do. And so, this being the 100th episode, again, guys, I would ask you, what impact can you make by the time you're 100 years old? 100 is really the new 70, right? Everybody is living to 100 years old. So many people are. And, when you look at that, keep yourself healthy. You'll probably live far past 100 if you're young in today's world. And so, it is just an honor and a privilege to be able to do this every single morning. I say this all the time, but I wake up every day, and I can't say that it's every day, but it's so many days in my life. Most days I wake up and I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for just the life that I get the opportunity to live, for the opportunity to just have another day. And that day almost always starts out doing this. And it starts out, on a positive note with a bunch of people that I care about that have become like family to me, that spend there's so many people that spend almost every single morning with me here. And, that it means more to me than I could put into words, but I'm just grateful. And, I'm grateful to be able to get to do this. I hope that this show makes an impact on you guys. I hope it continues to grow and it's able to reach more and more and more people. I'm going to do a better job of getting more people on this show to interview. It's been crazy getting to this point where this show, sitting down here and doing this every day is almost like breathing in and breathing out. It's just a natural thing for me to be able to do. And, it is something that I'm really passionate about. So if you guys could help me grow it by sharing it out, by tagging people that you think in your life might need to hear a positive message. So many people out there need to hear it. I would appreciate it. So with that said, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing this show, for helping me grow it, and for what you will do from this point on to continue helping to grow it. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you guys for tuning in every single morning with me. Monday is going to be a rough day for me. I've got a really, really early morning flight. Michael Nass, there's another guy, man. I didn't even see you on here, brother. But before we go, to give you guys an idea, that is the guy that I hired first and foremost to teach me about the world of social media. And that guy told me when I first started talking to him, you need to start a show. And we went through all these different titles and names that we could call it. And, back then I was so nervous, man. There was no chance that I could do something like this. And but thank you, Michael Nass, for giving me for pushing me and encouraging me to do something like this. And the impact that it's made on my life, man, is incredible. So thank you so much for giving me the idea and the motivation and believing in me enough to do something like this. So, but Monday will be a rough day for me. You guys won't see me first thing in the mornings. I've got a 5 a.m. Flight, so you won't see me Monday, but Tuesday for sure. You'll probably see me later in the day on Monday, but Tuesday for sure you will see me. And then Wednesday I will be traveling again, but we'll see what we can do about the schedule. And so, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. 100 years of life. Think about it, guys. Do that calculation for yourself and figure out how many days that you have between now and 100 years and what that will look like when you impact that many lives. So 21,636 is my number. What's your number? Have a great Friday, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I love you guys.